If you look at the
Assalamualaikum.
autism that I have observed
Oi.
my training teacher, during the practical
Boleh?
time.
Tanya
in
apa?
one of the school which I don't wish to mention the name.
Si juga anak ke saya.
My training was undergoing the practicum at that time, and that one of the students was having the autism in that particular class, and that student happened to be one of the
Wifi laptop tak? Kena connect tu.
And when I was observing, I was sitting at the back. He just walked around. And then one of the students sees him, and they end up with
Kita dah on. Cuba nangga history lamanya, history mungkin ada mungkin tak ke kabel network baunya si dapat nya wifi. Dia boleh cek history yang kita lalu konflik dengan wifi lama kita boleh removekan network history network dekat saya laptop tak. Ada setting network places masalah baik. Setting network places.
I'm not an expert.
Okay.
I'm not an expert to deal with this kind of.
Boleh.
So I just let it be. So I feel very handicapped, in fact, on how to handle this kind of situation or situation.
Apa benda tu setting?
Well, without further delay, our main speaker today, Mr. Bharani Kumar, unfortunately, he got attacked. So he couldn't join us. My sincere apology. But however, his colleagues, are here to support us. We thank them for their support, for their demo, and I think what they're going to do is the artificial intelligence. We are moving into the artificial intelligence on how to assist to face this autism situation. So from neuroscience, and now we have gone to the artificial intelligence. That is the best, the highest thing that we can do at the moment. But I don't think in Malaysia we have such support. So we will call. I will invite Mr. Sarat from Hyderabad, and they are also based in US, to share their products, which they have developed, so that we can see whether if that the products that they have developed can be very helpful for our Malaysia or even for our Sarawak students in particular. So with that, Andivian, I hand over back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So sebenarnya program kita pada petang ini macam yang diperkatakan oleh Mr. Ravi ya. Sepatutnya Dr. Bharani yang menerangkan mengenai apa yang dimaksudkan dengan artificial intelligence tutoring for autism student ini lah. Sudah disebabkan perkara yang tak dapat dielakkan sebab kesihatan, jadi dia dibantu oleh Mr. Sarat Chandra. Okay, I can see that Mr. Sarat Chandra is already
Suara masuk dalam main dah.
Mr. Sarat Chandra is the Director Innodatatic and Chief Data Scientist at Innodatatic
Si juga anak
in US. Am I right, Mr. Ravi?
Yes.
So, yeah. So dia tak ada di Malaysia lah. Sekarang ni kita ni pertemuan jarak jauh lah. Ya, I can see Mr. Sarat. Hi, Mr. Sarat.
wifi laptop tak?
So he's also a computer science and information technology engineering graduate with over 16 years of industry experience. With over 50 plus projects spanning into various industries. So he's a big data engineer. Am I right how to pronounce it?
Aduh.
Yeah, okay. So a bit summary about him. He worked on various big data analytics and auto checking and developed various verticals in his previous employment. Skilled in big data, headed frameworks including the engineer emerging trends such as I can't read all of it. So without further ado, let us welcome Mr. Sher.
Aduh.
Unfortunately, incident happened and I have to pitching for Mr. Bernie too much. Nevertheless, I try to give a better shot. Without any further delay, let me start. I'll quickly present my screen and the question that everyone can you all please let me know if you're able to see the screen? Yes, yes, then we can see the screen. Thank you. Alright, so since this is idea the product that we are discussing specifically for monitoring or trying to observe the behavioral patterns of the learning. This idea basically comes from what I do. As part of my career, I also have been a professor for years. It was been more than 10 years now I have experienced various level of students. And during my time, I started training on
understanding the accent of the trainer or the verbal information, the language, thinking in words. When we speak some language, any language, you'll have to try and imagine those words and express the thoughts in written, absorb the thoughts of the trainer. So that's the vocal comprehension part of learning. Then we talk about perceptual reasoning. So ability to organize all the content that is being delivered, try to reason with the various, reason the concepts that are being delivered. Again, here also you'll have to imagine visual information. Probably as a trainer, I'll show some presentation like what we are doing here. Right? So students will be able to absorb that. Right? And when we show content, the student should probably solve those visual problems as well. There could be many things in that image that we have seen. So are students able to consume that? Then working memory, that is another very important aspect. Ability to retain whatever is discussed and manipulate that information so that you can express that as a learner, you can express those learnings, right? So that's very important with respect to child's overall development. So memory, right? That memory, working memory is very important. Then how quickly the student is able to grasp the things, learning speed. That is another important aspect. So ability to quickly observe what we are seeing, scan the image, scan the scenario, scan the verbal communication that we are doing, process that content, and then identify or differently abled kids in understanding and grasping the concepts. So if we have sign language, then people who are not able to probably understand what I'm saying, then we will have this sign language to communicate to those people, right, those kids. So this is a special feature that we brought in. And along with that, we're also talking about special kids behaviors, this ASD spectrum that we basically look at, right? Mr. Ravi was also speaking about these, autism effects. So we'll have to try and look at those, difficulty levels of various kids in absorbing the content. So these are some of the features. If I have to talk about the cognitive assessment. So imagine this, you are basically a trainer, or you can also put yourself in a kids place. When a trainer is basically communicating with the kids, then what is the behavioral aspects of this kids? Whether they are focusing, whether they are getting diverted, or they're focusing on something else rather than the trainer. So all these things are something that a trainer would be able to observe, right? A teacher would be able to observe. Now, how about bringing AI feature into this so that we give additional pair of eyes to the teacher so that the AI, artificial intelligence, keeps an eye on all the kids. It could be on online platform or it could be on a classroom platform, right? The classroom scenario. So if it is online, then probably there is offline recording. There's no live trainer, no live teacher, but it is a recorded video. So if you are trying to revisit that recorded video, then how attentive a student is while going through that video can be captured using this cognitive assessment. While going through various lectures, we tend to feel drowsy, right? So how many times the kid is basically feeling drowsy, or in what area the kid is getting drowsy, right? Then how many times the kid probably moved away from the system? What are the various emotional aspects of that particular kid? Whether he was happy, whether he was surprised or confused with the concepts that are being delivered. These kind of emotional behaviors can also be captured. And not just captured, but all these are given as a report so that the guardian or the parent can also understand in what areas the student probably have to focus, or trainer as a teacher should focus. So both these worlds will get this cognitive information so that the learning can be enhanced in a better way. We also have self-learning mechanism. Here we will have chatbot. Students who can, right, type and communicate with the chatbot. If they have any questions, they can ask directly the question to the bot. If they don't want to type in, then you can also use voice-based feature, and they can verbally ask the question just like how they ask probably a live teacher in a classroom environment. So that's one aspect of the self-learning mechanism, but also we'll also have various performance analytics that is being captured based on the students' exams, students' various questions that they ask. So all this information is collated, and then analytics reports, cognitive reports are being generated for the both learners as well as the teachers to enhance their learning mechanism, I mean teaching mechanism and learning mechanism. Next, we also have scroll bar movement analysis. This scroll bar movement analysis basically talks about in which area student was not interested and skipped through the video. So if it is an online video, the student might just skip through, say forward, I don't know, I don't want to watch this content, it is trivial content, right? So you just skip it forward. Now, what is that content student did not hear, right? As a trainer, as a lecturer or a teacher, you want to understand that, right? And for a student also, probably he was very much in a hurry, he immediately wanted to learn some concept, probably some assignment he was working on, but he wanted to refer back to the video. So he may directly go to that point. But what is that content that he missed? that information can be shown by capturing what is the duration from start and to end, the moment that the forward was done, right? So that moment can be captured, and what is the topic that was missed or skipped is something which we will be able to capture from the video content using artificial intelligence techniques, and the information about that particular content is given here. If you click on the link, then you will be redirected to that particular content. The student probably did not understand some concept. So what would the student do? Probably you rewind that part and revisit that part, right? So rewind and skip forward as well as rewind backward. So what is that content the student was rewinding? Not just one student, but maybe many students are there, right? So all the students, we will try to collate all that information, and this information would help the teacher eventually saying that this is the part where students are rewinding the concept again and again. So maybe I'll have to rework on that particular content and explain it, probably giving more examples, right? So this kind of information is basically, again, very, very important for the trainers to streamline their content delivery. Now, this is the important aspect that probably today we have to focus on. Special kids, a lot of these incidents are being now being researched on. ASD, which is basically, we call it as autism spectrum disorder, ASD. It's various behavioral challenges that these kids have because of neural, whatever the reasons are. But basically the three aspects, right? Socializing, visual, and focusing. These are some of the primary aspects that the kids feel difficulty in absorbing or behaving compared to normal kids or regular kids, I should say, the other kids. So how about observing these kids and trying to capture how well they are coping up, right? So we have, like Mr. Professor Ravi has said, that there are 42 autistic kids already, and they should be probably getting some kind of a treatment. Now, on a daily basis, if we observe them, their behaviors might be varying, right? Autistic kids, there are different levels of the severity of ASD related scenarios. And based on the treatment from the experts, this disorder can be overcome, right? So the students or the kids are getting training or therapy to overcome these challenges. So what is that, I should say, benefits or how they are coping up with these various behavioral challenges? Is the therapy that the kids are getting is actually resolving one specific behavior is what we are trying to capture here. So again, using the artificial intelligence capabilities, we will try to focus on the student's behavior. Like in this example, you can see in that video, we basically, which is recorded for the kid as part of the school probably or for the treatment perspective. Using the consent of the parent, we will try to apply the artificial intelligence model on that particular video. And that would specifically observe on what is the behavior that the student is displaying, like flapping hands or to walking or various other, eye gauging or hand flapping. So different behaviors are there. So we will try to capture that information, and we will try to monitor for a duration, right? Complete duration on daily basis. And this would tell us also additional information that whether the student is getting the the particular behavior addressed. The therapy is happening, and the teachers also try to basically train them. So how is the improvement in the kid can also be observed, right? So these are basically additional information that we speak about. I'll come back to the autism related features. Then we also have the sign language, which basically I explained. People who are having challenges with hearing or speaking, they basically use this sign language for communicating. We cannot leave this segment of people. They have equal rights to develop themselves into the challenging world. So for them, on the same platform AI Spry, we are also having this sign language based training. I mean the sign language feature, where whatever the lecture that is happening will automatically get converted into a sign language, and the student who is viewing will actually see a 3D image of a replica of a tutor, and doing this your sign language for doing the communication. So this is one of the feature that we have, and we try to we are working on these different sign language standards, ASL, ISL, and ESL, and we're also bringing in this 3D image of the tutor to have that real-time perception or that real-time experience for the viewers. Now, coming back to the assumptions of all these models, if I have to talk about more on the technical aspects, whatever the features that you are seeing, you can simply connect and take those features services as a software. I mean, software as a service. The product is readily available. You just connect and get the things done. The assumption that we are basically looking at, right, the environment, the scene that we are imagining here is the student is in front of the camera, and he's probably taking the lectures over Zoom or Gmeet, like what we are doing right now, or various other platforms like GoToMeeting or other platforms that we have about now. The other scenario, other scene is there's a classroom and there's a CCTV footage where this group of students are actually getting their classes done. So these are the two environments that we basically are looking into. And for processing, we will need GPU capabilities in your computers too, so that it can capture the videos, it can process those videos, and then give this cognitive information, right, assessments and insights to the stakeholders, end users. And all these things basically are very simple plug and play kind of architecture that we designed. That's APIs based techniques. So what happens, I mean, just to give you a small perception, let's imagine we have CCTV footage scenario. Classroom, there are assume 5 or 6 kids. The CCTV footage will capture those kids, and the processing in the backend happens on that video by putting bounding boxes on each kid, identifying what is the name of the kid, what is the ID basically of the kid, by connecting back to the database, the student's information. And we will try to capture their various behavioral aspects using video analytics. Whether the kid is not focusing on the class, right? Maybe he's sleeping. The kid is sleeping, or maybe the kid is maybe rocking right, forth and back, or maybe he's very focused, engrossed into something. He's not focusing on the class. So these are the kind of behavioral aspects that we will be able to capture, right? And I mean, you can just use as these features as is. And these, for now, all these features that we are speaking about will be working on the recorded videos, which will be stored in your various platforms, right? And these are the various reporting aspects. My colleague, Mr. Praveen, joined. He will also explain about how the UI will look like. Because of various patents, we have filed for patents and all that. Because of that, we will not show the actual product, but we will show you the replicating, the reporting part of it. So these are various aspects in the reporting that we have brought in: social engagement and non-verbal behavior. I mean, these are the 9 parameters that we have to observe in post detection of autism or ASD in a kid. And we will get a summary of the social, I mean, the child's behavior, right? And this, we will be talking about capturing these behaviors for various, various ASD parameters, that 9 parameters that we're talking about here. And we will try to observe what is the kind of behavioral variations that the kids are displaying. Now, this is going to definitely help the therapist, the medical world, and it also helps the teachers as well as the parents to basically right, get more information about how the progress of the kid is. These are some of the questions that the application will try and address now. How coordinated the vocal feature or gauge of the students or gestures for that matter are being displayed by the kid, right? Do they try and repeat a specific sound like humming or grunting or specific words they keep repeating, right? Or is the kid mingling with his friends or his or her friends and sharing the feelings, right? Enjoying the basically the community, or probably the kid is trying to seclude him or herself into a one corner of the probably that environment. How frequently the kid socializes. Is the kid overly focusing on something specific thing, right? Like scribbling on the book, playing with a specific toy, or maybe he's kind of completely lost in their own world and not mingling with the crowd, right? So these are the kind of behaviors that we will capture. What is the posture of the kid in the class, for example, right? Do they fidget or rock or basically move like this, right? So these are the kind of posture aspects that we identify or capture, right? Various behavioral aspects. So all these are going to be captured by video analytics, which is basically developed by our team using the AI capabilities. All these various algorithms. And this information is going to be converted into reports for the stakeholders to get better knowledge on the progress. And who all are getting positively impacted by this particular AI spray product? Though we are speaking about specifically, I'm talking about kids with special needs and the parents of these kids, but it can also work like wonders for various other worlds as well. The students community, working professionals, universities, colleges, schools, government establishments, right? Exam proctors, because we also want to understand how the students are behaving in the exam while they give the exam. And corporates also can take the benefit of all these features. So these are some of the aspects that I wanted to talk about. Now I'll also talk about the AI spray as a some small demo I'll show, and then we will talk about the ASD related reporting, which I'll hand over to my colleague, and he will be presenting that. Let me just try and bring in the. Okay, so let me just bring in this. I will show you a small demo here. Oh, I think it's already logged. Let me just bring it. Okay. So this is the login page, and here we also have brought in face detection based authentication. So it identifies who that person is. For example, if I click login now, it is trying to capture my identity. Yeah, because of the so this is without keying in my username password, I am logging into my system. And this is a test environment, of course, but yeah, this is how you will be able to log in to the system. And if I have to show you the reports, this is a kind of report that you will be getting. where various behavioral aspects are captured, especially you can see active and drowsy. So this is a test run that I have run just before the session. I connected with you people. So total video duration that I played was like 49 minutes, 4 seconds. Then how much time I was active, how much time I was drowsy, and various emotions that I displayed while the video was going on. So I was 56% happy, but I was also 77% sad, probably with some examples, or maybe I was not happy with respect to some examples that were given in the lecture. This is with respect to the behavioral aspects. I'll also show you the video analysis. This is the scroll bar analysis. So you can see how much content I was rewinding, how much was skipped forwarded, right? How much content did I played and all that. If I have to go back to the content, let me probably run a small video and show you. So what happens is when the student wants to learn things, they may revisit this portal and go through the recorded video. Right? I'll play the video.
Recorded and
this is, I'll just keep it on mute or low volume. Right? So this is some random lecture which is going on. Okay. And on this lecture, I want to now initialize the analytics module. So I'll start the feature. I'll say turn on analysis. Now this is capturing the live video. So it asks the consent of the user. When I say capture, it doesn't record the data anywhere. We are not capturing any data, or we are not storing any data. Okay, that's very important aspect you need to understand. It's just like how a teacher is observing a student. The AI module, AI feature is also observing the student. Right? And whenever, let's say I'll blink my eyes, right? I'll try to close my eyes. So it should basically identify that I'm not active. So let me show you. Or let me put hand in front of this if I'm not in front of the screen. So it basically tries to observe that, and it, let's say, is basically quickly saying that, hey, I'm not able to see you, right? Unable to locate you. So do you want me to hold the video, or do you want me to continue? So if the student is not in front of the system, then the video will be paused and the student can come back and continue the video. Okay? If I try to sleep, for example, I'll try to observe it. Immediately does not capture, but it will observe for 2-3 seconds, and then it will say, you're probably getting drowsy. You might want to get a hot cup of coffee or a chocolate. So these are the aspects, and let me also show you that at this moment I'm skipping forward, right? So I've from 20 minutes I've skipped forward to 46 minutes. So this is also being captured in the backend engine, saying that from this particular minute to this minute, the student is actually skipping the video, right? And I can do multiple skip forwards and multiple rewinds, right? So all these things will be captured. Right. Let's also try to observe that it is also capturing, let's say, multiple skip forwards. And I will also speak about, or I'll also show you how the rewind also works. So this is, let it go through some content so that it in the backend engine, it also identifies that you've started playing from here. And if I say this part, maybe from here to here, I wanted to rewind. But let me show you the report first. So this is the active session. 96% I was active. This part is where I was skipping forward, right? So that point it is showing. And one instance I was closing my eyes and I was showing that I was drowsy. So that is captured, right? And you can also look at this video analytics. So it shows that this is the area that I skip forwarded, and again I skip forwarded here. And if I go back and let's say I will replay, and I'll say, let me go back and try to rewind the video and see. So if I rewind the video and see what is happening, right? And if I talk about report now, and if I go here, you can see rewind is also captured. This is the content which you rewinded. And what is that area which you skip forwarded? And what is the video which you rewinded? And what are the topics in that particular section is also given. And you can simply click on this button and you will directly be taken to that particular module. So for a student, it will be very easy to use the system and go and understand what is that content that he or she wanted to rewind or skip forward. Right? So this is basically a quick overview of the product. And now I would like to call upon Mr. Praveen. Praveen, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Sharan.
Yeah, hi. No, I was checking for Mr. Praveen.
Okay.
I see he's
yes,
on
Sharan, I'm there.
my colleague. Yeah, hi, Praveen. Yeah, Praveen here is our product manager and right, AI specialist also. He would basically explain the reporting part of the ASD feature. So Praveen, please, you might want to take over.
Yeah, thanks, Sharad. And hello all, good afternoon. As Ravi Gopal and Sharad was trying to convey, that ASD, autism spectrum disorder, is a neurodevelopmental disorder and which has its own characteristics like deficits in social communication, repetitive of behavioral attitude, and the presence of some restricted interests as well. And the engine that Sharad has talked about, the AI tutor, provides various characteristics, explorability, and then it will give some sort of prescriptive information to all the parents or school or administrators and all. So let me pull up the report. So okay, I hope you could able to see my screen right now.
Yes, Praveen, I'm able to see the screen.
Okay. So these are the different parameters for ASD kid or child or trying to track via the engine. And these are not limited, or these are not only the parameters that are existing in the world, but we are gradually growing our maturity on understanding the behaviors patterns of these kids and try to add to our model and get the neural networks embedded into it so that we can just get profound information of each and every kid and provide some sort of substantial evidence-based information and then drive to the growth of that ASD kid. So here, as you can see, some of the vocal, gaze, gesture, focus, and all the high-level parameters. And internally as well, you like if I go back to vocal as a major parameter, you have a behavior or delayed response might be or might not be a behavior from ASD, because at times the normal kids also tend to behave and give delayed response. But then what is the frequency of such mechanism for a kid? If it is too much or if it is huge, then that is a sign or identified behavior from ASD perspective. So as you can see on the screen, these are the different parameters that we are trying to capture through the engine. And coming back to the report, so this is the generic report. It would look like from a school's administrative perspective, where you have the entire number of students of the school, and you can idealize from a bird's eye view perspective. If I have to convey the first age range, where you can see at the top left corner, it talks about what is the age of the ASD kids that we are trying to target to, and then evaluate the behavior components. And it can, whatever the ages that we have in the school or in the particular university that we, because when we wanted to evaluate the reports, we also wanted to understand what is the proportionate behaviors or parameters are seen across these gender, and how we wanted to add our learnings or theoretical suggestions to these people. And here, like I mentioned earlier, we have taken 9 parameters for our discussion point. And if you see the ASD parameter exhibited, so there are 1,000 different ASB behaviors that we could able to identify. And this is a historical record, or I mean to say is that unlike the normal kids, where there is a possibility of the kids can sit in front of the camera and the engine can identify the behaviors of the kids. For the ASD kids, it is not clear for that, because the different aspectorial ratio or the face or the body posture not be able to capture from that laptop, and that is where majority of these data is driven from a installed camera somewhere in the classroom, and it idealizes and identifies the whole body characteristics of the ASD student. And based on that historical data, we could able to churn the data and then provide some sort of insights to both parents as well as the school people. So if you see the student exhibiting symptoms over here, we have what sort of behaviors that they are exhibiting, and we could able to evaluate them. And ASD symptoms tracked are around 63 symptoms that we are tracking. And this graph or bar represents the number of behaviors. Graph itself, I could able to see the orange color, which has some less number of behaviors exhibited by those students. And when I just see the data, all these orange represents the age 10. So you can see on the tooltip as well. So in this regard, I could able to substantially say that the behaviors of the ASD kids are little less of age 10 when compared to other areas or other ages. If I take another example of the color pink, which is age 6, and you can see the varied number of behaviors, 25 against to 3 here, 18 against to 3 here. So in that context, as a school administrator or a parent, what I can assume is that this is the place where I have to concentrate. If my kid's age is around 5 or 6 or 7, there is more proximity or high chance that the kid might tend to go into ASD unless we provide some sort of behavioral techniques and we guide them how to come out of that ASD barriers. So this will majorly help on all the occasions, and the historical information could also provide the elaborative analytics of what sort of guidance that the kid might require. Is it only from the emotions? So if you see here on the pink side, a pink color graph, the ASD parameter is exhibiting from an emotion side, which is 18 number of behaviors. And when I compare to my body posture side of it, the exhibitions are around 26. Likewise, if you see this focus is 25 and motor skills is also 26. Motor skills is something where whenever they are trying to talk or communicate or play with the other folks, the hand and eye coordination are they intact. What about the reflexes of the students? So all these are basically part of the motor skills, and this is how the academic can probably ingest few more courses or sort of additional curriculum or sort of additional guidance, only these particular areas where you have high behaviors exhibited by those students. Let's go back to our dashboard, and I'll, as a class teacher or a particular a segment of the schools, in fact, if I wanted to understand from a student perspective, each individual student perspective, then on the left hand side you can see the student ID numbers, which can vary from, depending on the student that you have, and all these small bars that you could able to see. So this is the behavior of the body posture, and the student has displayed or exhibited 133 minutes of that particular behavior. So it does means that there is high indication of some sort of body posture related ASD characteristics, and somehow we have to give some therapeutic suggestion or some sort of other guidance to this kid on this body posture. But when I go back and see this particular area on the red color highlighted, which is light and sound behavior, because there is each and every ASD kid has different symptoms, and each parameter has different impact on those students. So as an example, on this row, the student 7503236 doesn't exhibit any sort of discomfort whenever there is some sort of high or bright sound and high sound and all those things, while other kids could able to behave differently. So I would not be spending much on guiding or providing some insights for this particular kid, on the this parameter, while I'll focus on the other parameters like where he or she exhibited around 484 minutes in emotions. They are not empathetic. And how do I empathize, or how do I help the student understand what is emotions, what are different type of emotion, how do they empathize with their own friends or parents or school people. So that's how this graph would idealistically give a information from each and every student perspective. Like the other way where we were discussing about the school academic perspective and see what sort of arenas that the focus has to be given, the same curriculum, probably we can just group these students together. And if I have to take a call, at least by seeing this data, I have these emotions where every student is exhibiting some sort of characteristic deficits. So this is the place where I wanted to include a separate curriculum to the students and enhance their features on the emotion side. How to express emotions, how to express joy, how to express enjoyment within the class and all those things. Whereas if I go back and see this pink color related things, which is substantially little less when compared to our emotions, these are the motor skills. So with the growth of the age kit and the mentality behavior and the age hormones and all, there is a good enough chance that the motor skills automatically gets induced. But from the emotions, this is highly impossible from a natural perspective. So this is just a sake of argument. I'm just giving it because of the data that we have. In that way, the student, or I would say student, but the school administrator or the teacher can able to take some sort of insights from these data and uh, direct the schools or add another additional curriculum for the people and all. And all these reports can be individually customized for a student so that the teacher or the school can send out to the parents, providing this is where we require some sort of additional support to the student, and this is what it can be done. And all these metrics and what are the different parameters, like we were discussing, each ASD student has a different type of characteristics expressed, and we can design those reports, or we can design the different articulated curriculum for each student as well as group students as well. But it all depends on what we require, how the school is trying to look at the implementation or providing assistance to these ASD kids. This is all from the reporting side of it. Back to you, Sharad.
Thank you so much, Praveen, for that presentation. So friends, as you have seen, our attempt basically is to improvise the world of knowledge sharing, and we are trying to contribute in whatever way we can for different segments of the communities. Hopefully we will try to make change in the community in a good way. And with that, I would like to conclude from my side. And Mr. Ravi, Professor Ravi, I want to give back to you the stage, and thank you so much for giving this opportunity for showcasing the product and trying to right invest our time in the right way, right direction.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sharad and Praveen, for your wonderful sharing. Yeah.
Pleasure.
Let's open the floor to the questions, Q&A.
Yeah. Actually, one of my teacher in PPD SERIAN have one question here, and we open the question to the floor. If you have any question, you just type in the chat box, and I will read the question. Okay, try to figure out what is the question from the teachers here. They asked me, is it the product is like an apps, Mr. Sharad? One of the question from my teacher.
Okay, so if the question is basically to understand if we have a mobile application, then at this stage, no, it is only a web-based application, and very soon it will become a mobile application which students can, I mean, which various people can use it. But at this stage, no, it is not a mobile application.
Okay, hopefully the explanation very clear.
I hope I have answered the question.
Yeah. So anybody else want to ask?
Check for you. You can put
Yeah.
that, anak
Tunggu
tanya.
soalan daripada cikgu-cikgu PPKI SERIAN.
Stage, and thank you so much for giving this opportunity for showcasing the product and trying.
Yeah. Cikgu Dizon, ada apa-apa soalan Cikgu Dizon?
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah and Rick. Yeah. Let's open the floor to the questions, Q&A.
Soalan? Okay. The RC, is it the product is like an apps, Mr. Sharat? One of the question from my teacher.
Okay, so if the question is basically to understand if we have a mobile application, then at this stage, no, it is only a web-based application, and very soon it will become a mobile application which students can, I mean, which various people can use it. But at this stage, no, not a mobile application.
Okay, Mr. Sharat, there is another one question. Okay, is the program only used for the okay, hopefully the explanation very clear.
I hope I've answered the
classroom, especially for the ASD student. Only, I mean, only for ASD student, for autism student, or we can use it for other student, not only focusing on autism student. Okay, one of the question. Another question from the teacher.
Okay, thanks for the question. It can be applied for regular kids as well. As I was speaking about in my presentation, the initial part of the presentation was generalizing the community. It was not focusing only on ASD. So we can absolutely use the product for capturing various aspects of any student, right, irrespective of whether it is autistic or regular.
Okay, jelas tak Cikgu Nelia? Untuk jawapan tadi dia kata boleh digunakan untuk mana-mana murid bermasalah pembelajaran lah. Maksud dia tidak fokus kepada autism sahaja. So it's a very good program. Okay, we're still waiting. Ada lagi yang tengah typing. Okay, we have another question here, Mr. Sarat. How to apply this program in our culture, especially in Sarawak? Do you have any idea? I mean, cross-culture, because this is the program we have in Hyderabad, right? Is it?
No, not really. This can be applied anywhere. It's just a software view. So it's not restricted to Hyderabad. It's an application or a software which can be used anywhere. I am from India, location Hyderabad. That's the reason why it was mentioned. So boleh menjawab soalan semua kan? Boleh digunakan di mana-mana.
di seluruh dunia boleh guna aplikasi yang telah dicipta ni lah. It's a very good program. Okay, kita tunggu lagi kalau ada apa-apa soalan daripada cikgu-cikgu. Ambil peluang ni ya cikgu. You just ask anything you want to ask. Still Q&A. So I think we don't have any question. Maybe we want to end the session. So I would like to invite our SIP to close the program. Okay. Let us welcome Mr. Charles.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Hi. Right. Good afternoon to Mr. Ravi, senior lecturer from IPGK, BATU LINTANG, and Mr. Sarat from Artificial Datastics USA, and all the PKI teachers and all the participants for this afternoon's program. So first of all, good afternoon, and on behalf of the officer from PPD SERIAN, I'd like to extend our gratitude and so thanks for this program, and then to all the participants and so speakers. So hopefully this program will help us in enhancing our knowledge regarding autism, and hopefully we will work again next time. So once again, on behalf of PPD SERIAN, I'd like to extend our gratitude and thanks to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Charles, for the closing. Yeah, so hope we will have another session again, and hope to see you again, Mr. Sarat from Hyderabad, India, and thanks again to Mr. Ravi from IPGK BATU LINTANG. Okay, for that, don't forget to bye.
Bye. Okay, thank you.
Bye everyone, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.